Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform. My name is Ait Political. Beautiful Wednesday morning. 114 days to the presidential election on February 16, 2 days after Valentine's Day. We hope we approach that election with the spirit of Valentine, spirit of love, a spirit of patriotism. Former head of state Yakubu Gowon asking the candidates to readily accept defeat if they lose in that election. The role played by former President Goodluck Jonathan, still a reference point. President Muhammad Buhari last week even stating that his respect for the former president is still intact over the way he quickly called him and accepted defeat without much promptings. But 114 days, are we ready for these elections? If we want to be more specific, you can say 114 days, 22 hours, about 55 minutes. The Senate yesterday passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. We are waiting a concurrence from the House of Representatives before it will get to the President for assent. 114 days to the election. No legal framework for that election. Are we not shooting ourselves on the foot? One is already on ground, but we know a new one is coming, and it will come with changes. For instance, the one passed by the Senate talks about the card reader or indeed any other electronic device as sole means of accrediting voters before they exercise their franchise that day. Provisions have been made in the budget approved for INEC for enhancement of the card reader and indeed any other electronic device they may want to bring in. Some other provisions of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill as passed by the Senate, pegging of campaign funds to be spent by candidates wishing to become the president of Nigeria. Before now, it is 1 billion naira, but they have raised it to 5 billion. For governors, it is 1 billion. For a senator, you must not spend more than 250 million. A House of Rep member, the peg is 100 million. And for a House of Assembly member, 30 million. Are this feasible? 5 billion for a presidential candidate? Can a 5 billion successfully prosecute a presidential primary? I don't think it could. So is it that we are living in self-deceit, knowing full well that this may not be tenable, enforceable yet, we will not push the laws to really accommodate the present reality? Can INEC, as presently constituted, enforce these provisions? INEC is busy with the conduct of the election. The electoral body is also busy with registering political parties. So many voter education, name it. They don't have much time to begin to enforce all this. Maybe the electoral commissions, the commission that is being proposed to deal with political offenses, if it comes on stream, may begin to tackle these issues. Protests have continued in APC secretariat in Abuja, but this time around, it is pro-Adams Oshemole protest. They fingered some stalwarts of the APC, some governors, Rotimi Akeredolu, in Ondo State, they say is the one going around the country collecting signatures and inviting people to join the group that want Adams Oshemole out. The looters list, the Federal High Court yesterday in Abuja said there's nothing wrong in the list the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, published. My colleagues are here with me in the studio. Uju Ejeye, welcome to Political Platform.
Thank you, Mechi. I just hope that the APC is able to address all the crisis emanating from its primaries across the country. And it would be a very good one if it can just put its house in order quick enough so that it can be at par with the other political parties, particularly the main opposition party, towards the 2019 elections. Time is fast running out, and it's good that the Senate also has come up with the amendment to the Electoral Act. This would be the fifth one, actually, because the president had rejected it 4 different times. And although we are not quite sure what the House would come up with, but because I know that the 2 committees of both houses have been working together,
so we are not expecting anything,
not much difference, nothing that cannot be harmonized in 1 or 2 days, because they are also conscious of the time, because I believe they represent Nigerians and they can feel the heartbeat of their constituents, so that at least everything with regard to the laws governing the conduct of elections, the framework can be available for people to study long enough before the elections.
Is Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu on his way out of the PDP? There were concerns and reports that the ruling party is making overtures to him, but the man who issued a statement via his Facebook handle yesterday said he remains a member of the PDP. There were reports that the way he was treated in the choice of P2B, not enough consultations, may unsettle the Ekweremadu camp, and there were reports that they are considering their options. Yesterday I spoke with Kola Olobondiyan, the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, and he told me Ekweremadu will be the last PDP member to leave the party. And yesterday, the Deputy Senate President himself restated that position. Mustafa Mohammed, welcome to Political Platform. The primaries for the area councils election in Abuja for the APC will be holding today.
Exactly, and this time around, I think the APC FCT is lucky because they are going to use the indirect primaries that they were yearning for, and of course, you know, the outcome of the past primaries was not very good. How can you have somebody who came number 7 in the House of Reps, Amak Bari, being imposed as the number 1? This and so many others. Of course, an NGO is in the studio, and when they are out to speak, then they can tell us what exactly.
Wahab Musa, a stakeholder, an interest group, a stakeholder in the FCT, All Progressives Congress, is on ground. He will be taking us through his expectations for his party as they organize their primaries.
And beyond that, the issue of Peter Obi is not just raising concerns in the South. Northerners are raising serious concerns, accusing him of trying to push out northern traders when he was a governor, asking them to either have an ID card or even leave, you know, Anambra State. And of course, you know, it's against constitutional provision to push anybody out of, you know, the state where he resides. Remember what happened when Fashola was a governor, when some Southeasterners were like moved back to the east. But what we don't know is whether the PDP will prevail on Atiku and change Peter Obi or will allow him. But some of these issues are going to be serious electoral issues. If you don't like people from any part of this country and you want them to get, as in to give you votes, people will have to reconsider their stand.
I can tell you, Mustafa, that these are allegations that fly around, especially in the social media, and during a campaign period, such allegations do come on, most of them unverified.
Amechi, you are from Anambra State. Aren't you a bit surprised about this allegation? Because you know that there is a portion of the state allocated to northerners doing business, you know, herdsmen. And they have been doing their businesses peacefully
issues
all along.
You get when campaigns are around the corner. Opponents will go to any length to indeed paint their fellow contestants in bad light. Don't expect also that in the days to come you will see such allegations even against APC members. Shola Jaisimi, welcome to the program.
I'll also tail off from the issue about alleged perceived you know, biases against people from different parts of this country. Yesterday on the floor of the Senate, and I like the way the senators handled the issue. Our senator, a key member of the ABGA, chairman of that party, who now became a senator following the by-election, Victor Ume alleged, and he's a lawyer, and he made the allegation strongly that there is no member of not anybody from the Southeast represented on the National Security Council. Thank God these things are written in black and white, and one of the senators picked up the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended 1999 and read out the membership. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is a member of the National Security Council, and the present occupant of that office is somebody from the Southeast, Godfrey Oyema from Enugu State. So when people try to politicize things, it doesn't help us. We go back to the books, we look at what the law says, then we look at all the other issues around balancing. There are not a few people who have accused the president of this country of having the chief executives of different security agents for one part of the country. The facts are there. These things are true. Even the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Air Vice Marshal Yusuf Usman, is also from the northern part. So we need to look at everything and take away ethnic biases and ensure that we look at Nigeria as a project that we must follow through on. The federal character principle is there. If it's been dragging us back, then we look at it and say, no, we don't want it. Let merit and, and brotherliness be what will drive us. Still on the ethnic toga, the issue in the NHIS is now becoming something funny. There are allegations that it's taking an ethnic bias. Some people are saying that, look, the executive secretary, Professor Yusuf Usman, he has his agenda. But there are also those who are saying, no, why should it be? But the comment that is of concern to me is what is attributed to the senior special assistant to the president, Malam Garba Shehu, who said, look, all the people who are saying all these things against Professor Usman, they don't know the facts of the matter. And it seems the presidency has taken sides. Why am I saying this, Amechi? Because for the president's key spokesperson to say that the National Health Insurance Scheme Governing Board doesn't have a right to suspend the ES, these are questions that, we'll begin to wonder, will these issues be resolved? Thank God the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is looking into the issue, and the Permanent Secretary in charge of General Services, Adekunle, somebody, he has said, look, we are looking at it. The SGF, boss Mustafa, is calling series of meetings so that the issues can be resolved, and the HMOs do not hold the nation to ransom. That's an allegation that's been made.
There's a strong opinion out there that Professor Usman Yusuf is being targeted by the health management organizations who it is alleged are feasting on the National Health Insurance Fund, that they are shortchanging themselves, shortchanging the
Nigerians,
and shortchanging the hospitals. And what the executive secretary is doing is to dismantle
the network
process.
The so-called cabal.
When you do it, they talk about when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. But there are serious allegations of financial impropriety leveled against him. Yes, on one side there are claims that the cabal that he wants to dismantle, they are fighting back. On another hand, serious allegations against of financial impropriety. So it is like someone who has come in to clear the room of filth, also joining in polluting the air. These are the allegations that must be treated from all angles so that we'll get the true side of the story. We'll take a break to welcome your opinion through our mails. Then when we come back, more reports and analysis, and our guest is waiting. Please don't get away.
Welcome back from the break. It's the mail segment, and I'm Amaka Okoro. And I'm Ife. Welcome. We'll begin with a mail from Francis, who is writing to us from here, Abuja, and he writes on Nigeria's electoral process. The mail reads, following the two bold steps taken by INEC in recent times, which are the redeployment of Almighty Amina Zakari from operations to welfare and health, then the prohibition of APC from fielding candidates for elective positions in Zamfara State, do we see a reformed INEC, or is this just another fig leaf jab? After the series of elections it's conducted so far, it seems more like the latter to me. I urge the president to sign the electoral bill into law, as his refusal will confirm his undemocratic mindset. I also urge the National Assembly to include the amended sequence of elections in the draft bill, since they are legally empowered to do so. God bless Nigeria.
And this one coming from Emeka Mba, who writes from Abuja. He says, good morning, crew members. It's disheartening that in this 21st century Nigeria, Government at all levels and workers are still grappling with minimum wage, leading to incessant labor unrest that have caused the country huge losses. Whether 18,000 naira, as it is presently, or 30,000 naira as being proposed by workers, it's not really my problem, but the ability to pay and as when due. A lot of these workers are still owed several months of the present 18,000 naira minimum wage by various state governors, because these governors are playing gods, spending the state funds in such an unprecedented reckless manner with no form of accountability whatsoever. And even the workers are asking little or no questions. The state funds are like the governor's personal pocket money, which they spend however they want. Paying salaries is no rocket science. Therefore, I implore the presidency and affected governors to consult the former governor of Anambra State and vice presidential candidate of the PDP, Mr. Peter Obi, to teach them how to manage state funds for them to be able not only to pay salaries, but also provide the much-needed basic infrastructure, which I'm sure he'll do free of charge. Let's avert the impending workers' strike.
This is the much we have for you on today's mail segment. Keep writing to us through political platform at raypower.fm. We'll hand you back to Amechi and the rest of the crew for more.
Thank you so much for the mail, sir. News just breaking, sir. Former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has been granted bail in the corruption charge he's facing before a federal high court. 15 million naira bond, surety to present 3-year tax clearance before that can be executed. His international passport has been deposited with the court, so dates will be fixed for commencement of trial. But let's start with our guest, Abdul Wahab Musa, a stakeholder of the All Progressives Congress in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amechi, and thank you for having me once again.
The primaries of the APC for the area council elections will be holding today. Now, which method of primaries is to be adopted?
Yeah, definitely due to our yearning and the recent concluded primaries that took place in FCT. The electoral committee have decided to go on indirect primaries, looking at what exactly transferred at the concluded primaries. The crisis and the imposition of candidate, etc., that took place made them to kind of decide and finally agreed with the indirect primaries. I guess you are fully aware of what took place, the crisis in the Kuje area council. Some of the youth were being killed, houses were burnt down, and some other electoral ward. And of course, after the primaries...
we didn't get those reports, though.
Yeah, I'm surprised that as a media you couldn't get this, but definitely we have the fact on ground.
We'll verify.
Definitely we need to. And aside from that, after the primaries, that of House of Representative Amak and Buhari Federal Constituency, the persons that are supposed to be the 7th position was imposed as the 1st position, which definitely is not going to do any good to All Progressive Congress in FCT. Amechi, you are fully aware of Plateau assertion about leadership that is only philosopher king, or it's only when a leader become a philosopher king or philosopher king become a leader that society will be a better place. What we are saying is that who is a philosopher king is someone that knew much about the society and what the society need. But this person's Mustafa Lambert, they just come from nowhere. We don't even know where he comes from. Well, he was emerged as the winner of the primaries.
Good enough. Those issues that came up during the National Assembly primaries in the FCT may not likely emerge now, because unlike that one where direct primaries were used, this one is going to be indirect.
Definitely it's going to be different, because then I told you the last time I come here that if we are going to go by the direct primaries, we don't have the accurate data, we don't know who will be the electorate. But as for this,
the registered members, you don't have
the registered members, of course, but the last primaries that took place, people were being imported from different neighboring states to come and elect an APC aspirant. And at the same time, some of them were other party members, and they are all participating in the act of electing our own candidate. But in this indirect primaries, we have 27 ESCO members in each and every electoral ward, which, if you calculate times 12, it will give you exactly the figure.
All right, in adopting the indirect primaries, did you ensure that at least every member of your party, every known member of your party was carried along, was involved in the whole process leading up to electing people, who would take part in the primaries?
As delegates.
Exactly, my sister. The ESCO were being elected by the members of the party all together, and they accepted them as their leaders, and they are the one carrying the activities of the party, the registered members, and definitely they have been elected by the members of our.
Now let me ask you this question. It's actually regrettable that the indigenes of the FCT can only seek elections in the FCT, but other people have opportunities of seeking elections from other places, other states where they come from, and they can also come into the FCT to compete with the indigenes of the FCT. And of course, currently there is no law which says you can go to any part of the country to contest for election. What are your elected representatives doing, or what have they been doing in the past and currently to address this imbalance? Because if this imbalance is going to be addressed, the people you are complaining about, like Mustafa Lamurde, who is not from the FCT island, wouldn't have been here competing for the little remaining seat, because I learned that the FCT people have not even gotten a ministerial post.
Thank you, Mustafa, for this question, and definitely it's a long challenges we are facing here in FCT. And let me start by going from this perspective that when you go to other states, we have like up to 3 senatorial districts, and we have only one in FCT. We have like 20-something members representing their particular state, while we have only 2 here in FCT. And I guess our constitution said that the FCT should be treated as one of the states in Nigeria. But now it has come to a level whereby when politics comes, people will come from various states of Nigeria and start contesting with the indigenous. Why the indigenous have only these 3 or 4 positions I mentioned for you, and they will be competing with us. And in terms of now that in Africa, election is all about the resources you acquired. When you have enough, then you contest and you will get what you want. Then they will come with enough resources, they will contest with us. At the end of the day, they will defeat us, or they will impose a candidate for us. If it's a matter of defeating, it's even okay, because the constitutions have allowed them to do that. Despite that, we've been crying over it. If there will be a chance for us, the indigenes, to contest for the little position we have, they should also as well contest for the position they have in their various states. The last time I come here, somebody was saying I'm just crying or shouting because I'm a Baggy man. No, of course I'm not a Baggy man, but definitely I'm a Hausa, indigenous Hausa of FCT. Me and Baggis, we are the same, and our challenges and cry is all the same. So those are the problems we are facing.
Well, the hope is that at some point, as the law dictates, that we get a mayor for FCT rather than a minister for the federal capital. I was opportune to stand before 7 ministers of federal capital of Nigeria. To discuss these particular issues, and I talk about the mayoral status, and they said to me that it's an issue that we've been yearning for, but they believe that it's going to take place, but not anytime Musa soon. Is an APC stakeholder in the FCT. Thank you so much for coming around.
Let me also before I go, please appeal to the ESCO, the Electoral College that are going to make the election today, that Abdullahi Adamu Kandidu has done a lot for us,
and they should consider him.
Thank
you so much for coming around. That's how we wrap it up today. We'll do it tomorrow. My name is Amechi Anapwe. Have a good time.
Bust it.